I filled it in. No time for that doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse, bond it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it. They told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie. I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like told me, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win, applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win, applied myself.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back for the week 2 Saturday review. Now, Friday last night didn't go too well. I'll recap that tomorrow as well as all the games today that I'm previewing. But before I get into the games today, I would like to ask that you like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps the channel, it helps the network, it helps my channel, CTC, by the way of the Refuse to Lose Network. We also got shows like The Main Show featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave. We have Baseball with Teddy, all your baseball content through Teddy. We have Dave's Doghouse, all your highlights and lowlights of sports through Dave. Shelby Miller gives up a 2-run homer. Thanks, Teddy, for the info. Gives up a 2-run homer. I think he said bottom of the 11th to tie it. Tigers going to lose the game. Sucks, man. We needed to sweep the Athletics. We got to win the series. We got FFC, Fantasy Football with Coach Coombs. Now, 2 games of the NFL has now taken place, so no fantasy scores starting to come in. Yesterday was a crazy day for fantasy receivers and running backs. We got RBO Real Ballers Only NBA content through Vaughn. Kings Talk, all your Sacramento Kings information through Joe Jordan. In the Red Corner featuring Ty, Ricky, and Tomo. And we have Unfazed featuring Joe and AJ every Tuesday. And that's all the shows that the network offers. So, please like, comment, share, subscribe for all shows. And if you like what you're listening to, stick with us. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get into these week 2 matchups. Y'all know how my previews work. 5 keys each team. I pick a winner and give a brief explanation why. Oh, I can't wait. I'm looking at Duke Northwestern right here. I can't wait to talk about how Northwestern blew that game. And SMU. Oh, my God. But we start with Michigan at Texas. No, Texas at Michigan, 10th ranked Michigan at home versus 3rd ranked Texas. Texas comes in as 6.5-point road favorites. For Texas, they got to stop the duo of Khalil Mullins and Donovan Edwards at running back. Now, Donovan Edwards was pretty much stopped last week. He got the 1 touchdown through the air off a pick, but didn't really run the ball that great, while Khalil Mullins had a good game on the ground. They got to figure out this Michigan defense. This Michigan defense going back to last year has been stupendous. It looked really good against Fresno State. Just gave up 1 bad drive late in the game last Saturday. Got to figure out this Michigan defense. They have to game. Oh yeah, Texas have to game plan for Alex Orji. Alex Orji does come in the game. He uses his legs. He does throw the ball. You got a game plan for that. Can't forget about Alex Orji. They say he's one of their best athletes with the football. They have to stop that. I skipped. They have to stop Colston Loveland, who's considered one of the best tight ends in the country. I agree, by the way. He's one of the best tight ends in the country. He was like their only consistent guy in the passing game last week. And they have to force 3rd and longs because Davis Warren didn't look that great throwing the football last week. You want to have to make it to where Davis Warren has to make plays to beat you if you're Texas. Now, if you're Michigan, you have to stop that track speed at wide receiver with Isaiah Bond and Sam Brown. No. Do they got – I always get confused. I think they have Sam Brown. No, they have Matt Golden. I think Miami has Sam Brown. I know they got one of the guys from Houston. For Michigan, they have to control the clock, run the ball, keep the Texas offense off the field, and let their defense do their thing. Can they get Davis Warren going? Again, last week it did not look great. Can they get him going? Can they get him going with some short passes? Something just to get him in rhythm. And they still have to stop Jaden Blue and Jarek Gibson because, again, C.J. Baxter is out for the year for Texas at running back, which is a huge blow for Texas. And they got to pressure Quinn Ewers. They have to put pressure on Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers is one of the best college quarterbacks in the country. Got to put pressure on him. Let's see what he does with some pressure in his face. Does he know where his hot reads are? Can he identify the blitzes? Can he get the ball off? Things like that. But my winner for today is Texas. Texas comes in with a better offense. Texas come in with a stout defense themselves. Yeah, they're on the road in Ann Arbor, but they have the ability to put up points and put up points fast. Running game for Michigan looked a little iffy with Donovan Edwards. Looked good, but part of that was Fresno State as well. I just think Texas is the better team. Texas wins the game. Now we're going to get into some comments, and we're going to move on to the next one. Shout out my boy Kev. He says, nice cover art, Brody. Yeah, hey, bro. I might be all in on Dylan Raiola, bro. I told y'all, man. I want him to succeed. His father was a lineman for the Lions. I think it's Damien or Dominique. He was a guard for the Lions, right? And he was a pretty good one. And then he said Colorado versus Nebraska over Michigan versus Texas. You're wilding. You're wilding. Think it might be more explosive plays in that game, but I think the better game is going to be Michigan versus Texas. I think that's game of the week, to be honest. But we're going to move on to our second game. Arkansas at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State comes in as 9.5-point favorites. Oklahoma State also comes in ranked 16 in the country. Game is noon on ABC. By the way, the Texas game is noon on Fox. I don't think I said it. But for Arkansas, they have to stop Ollie Gordon. That's pretty obvious. One of the best, if not the best running back in the country. The best running back in the country. Got to get him. You got to stop him. Taylor Green has to use his legs. Transfer from Boise State. He's really more so known for his legs. If y'all seen that play last week, the dynamic play, I don't even know how he scored a touchdown on that play, but if you haven't seen it, check it out. Have to get off the field on third down defensively. Can't allow Oklahoma State to drive, and score because I don't know if Arkansas can put up points in a shootout with Oklahoma State. They have to make Allen Bowman win another game. I gave Allen Bowman his props last week against South Dakota State. When he had to make throws, he made throws. Can he do it again this week against Arkansas? Better defense? No, I don't even know if I say better defense. Good. I don't know. That remains to be seen. I'll say SEC defense. I'll say that. SEC defense. Can he make the throws? Can Oklahoma State take the Oklahoma State crowd out the game? Getting them off the field, going to score their own touchdowns, deflate the crowd, going to score first, maybe an interception. I would say a fumble is highly unlikely, but if they can definitely force one, that'd be really good. But just momentum, deflating plays, can they force those? Now, if you're Oklahoma State, establish Ollie Gordon. Obviously, the first key. You get him going, it opens up so much more for this offense. Can Brennan Presley and Rashad Owens, can they step up like they did last week? Two really good receivers. I was really high on them coming back for Oklahoma State, and they played really well, especially Owens got a bomb, I think like a 58-yard touchdown last week. Can they continue that momentum? Can't allow Taylor Green to use his legs. Exactly. I think Taylor Green, if he's not able to use his legs and he has to beat you with his arm, it's going to be a little iffy for Arkansas. That was the next point. I kind of combined them. Make him beat you with his arm. And clock control. Make Arkansas have to score with you. You run the ball, take 7-8 minute drive touchdowns with Ollie Gordon, and make Arkansas have to speed up their pace to score. Arkansas really don't want to do that. They don't play like that. They're not a tempo team. But we're going to go with my winner. My winner being Oklahoma State at home. Just think they're the better team. I think that they're the more experienced team. Although I like Taylor Green on the legs, with his legs, I'm not really high on Taylor Green as a quarterback. Well, I'm higher on Allen Bowman than I am Taylor Green. I say that. And Ollie Gordon is the best player in this game. So give me Oklahoma State to win it. All right. So we got Blaze. Let's go CTC. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. You said MSU is trash. Get him out of here. You don't even have a team. But shout out for watching. We're going to move on to our next game. Kansas State at Tulane. Kansas State goes into Tulane as 8.5-point favorites. This game is noon on ESPN. Kansas State is also ranked 17th in the country. Now for Kansas State, This is Avery Johnson's first real test this season. Last week, I think they played. I can't even remember who they played, but it wasn't really a good team. This is the first real test of the season. They got to stop Mekhi Hughes now, the sophomore running back for Tulane. It's phenomenal running back. Probably, I would say the best running back in the American Conference. DJ Giddens has to get going. They got to get him going. Try to take some pressure off of Avery Johnson, the young guy. If they can get him going, get him up in field, it'll open so much. And who will step up at wide receiver? Now, this has kind of been a Kansas State problem for the last 2 years, I would say. Phillip Brooks was cool for Kansas State last year. Malik Knowles was cool for Kansas State 2 years ago. But they really haven't had that guy at wide receiver. Is anyone going to step up and become one of those guys at Kansas State, like a Tyler Lockett back in the day? Who's going to do that? Tulane, can they take care of the football as well? Again, this is Avery Johnson's first test. He's really young. In this Tulane defense is going to come in, coached by Willie Fritz. No, not Willie Fritz, excuse me. By why am I blanking on JMU's old head coach? No, it's not Kirk Cincinnati. He's at Indiana. It's not JMU head coach. John Summerall. There we go. Troy's old head coach. John Summerall. Coached by John Summerall, defensive guy. He's going to come and try to shake up Avery Johnson. He's going to have to protect that football. For Tulane, they're going to have to keep a clean pocket for their young freshman, Darian Mensah, who surprisingly won the job over Ty Thompson. Very surprisingly, by the way. They're going to have to establish Mekhi Hughes because you got a freshman at quarterback. What's the best thing for a freshman quarterback, young quarterback? Getting your star player going. And he also want to get the ball to the explosive Mario Williams. Mario Williams, a former, I want to say, number one receiver in the country coming out of high school. This is his third school, but kind of got phased out at USC, and he left Oklahoma to follow Lincoln Riley at USC. So really, technically, I feel like I would count it as his second. I really wouldn't count the Oklahoma USC move. He just followed his head coach. But you got to get him the ball. Got to put pressure on Avery Johnson. Let's see if he's going to fold or not. And you got to force turnovers because Tulane is built on defense. So the defense got to step up and make plays. But my winner for this game, and I went back and forth with this, but I think K-State wins a close one. I think K-State wins it just based off. I think they might slightly be the better team. But Tulane is going to put up a fight. It's going to be close. I know I took the points. I think I got it at 10.5, maybe 9.5. I can't even remember. But I think it's a super close game. I think Kansas State just edges it out at the end. Going to move on to Georgia Tech at Syracuse, noon on the ACC network. Georgia Tech comes in ranked 23rd in the country. Georgia Tech, they got to establish Jamal Haynes. This is one of the best running teams in the country, best running teams in the ACC. Got to start with your running back. Not only that, Haynes King, I say it all the time, you got to take care of the football. Y'all remember week zero against Florida State. He tried to turn the ball over. Late third quarter, lost the ball on the option, but he got it back. And then lost the snap late in the fourth, but he got that back. These untimely turnovers from Haynes King cannot happen today. King has to also use his legs. Again, one of the best running offenses in the country and in the ACC. He's a part of it as well. He uses his legs. If nothing's there, don't try to force a throw. Run. Take off if you got a lane. Stop LaQuint Allen because Syracuse has been known to run the football, and LaQuint Allen is their star running back. You got to stop him. And I would say put pressure on Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord, man, I'm still not sold on Kyle McCord. I know his numbers aren't that bad, but when you watch it, in my opinion, it doesn't look as good as the numbers say either. I say put pressure on the guy. You might get a turnover out of him. Maybe Amari Harvey gets the pick. I don't know. But you got to put pressure on Kyle McCord. For Syracuse, they got to stop the run. Like I've been saying about Georgia Tech, one of the best run teams. You got to stop them and make them put the ball in the air. But they got some weapons too. They got to stop Eric Singleton Jr. and Malik Rutherford. Those are two pretty good weapons on the outside for Georgia Tech. They got to win the time of possession battle. I think this might become somewhat of a low. I wouldn't say low or high scoring, but it might be like one of those 20s games because like Syracuse is going to run the ball. Georgia Tech going to run the ball. It's just who's going to be better on third now. Marlo Wax is going to have to come ready to play. Marlo Wax is one of my favorite linebackers in the country. He's going to have to be the leader of the defense. He's going to have to put guys in their spots, and he's going to have to come up ready to make some tackles today. And Kyle McCord has to take care of the football and make smart decisions. Even when he don't turn the ball over, it just seemed like his decision making isn't there for me for Kyle McCord. So he just got to be better with that. But my winner today is going to be Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech is the better running team. I trust Haynes King more than I trust Kyle McCord. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm just not sold on Kyle McCord. I'm sorry. I think Haynes King does more as a quarterback as well. Haynes King would be good if he just stopped the turnovers. If he stopped the turnovers, it'd actually be good. But I'm going to go Georgia Tech to beat Syracuse in the Dome, in the Orange Dome today. We're going to move on to our last noon game. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati, rivalry game, noon on ESPN2. For Pittsburgh, Pitt got to win a turnover battle. Plain and simple. I don't know if this offense has improved from last year, So if it hasn't, you got to win a turnover battle. Don't allow Brendan Sorsby to use his legs. Transfer from Indiana. He has the ability to use his legs. He's not necessarily, I wouldn't say he's necessarily known to use his legs, but he can if you give him the opportunity. So you just got to cut that out. Have to stop Corey Kiner, who I think is the best running back for Cincinnati. You got to stop him. And can Eli Holston have a similar game as last week? Now, I don't remember Pitt playing somebody as good, so that's why I didn't say the same. I said similar. I think he had like 3 touchdowns last week. We have, I think, 300 yards. We had like 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. I think that's pretty solid for Pitt. And they got to force Cincinnati in 3rd and longs. Cincinnati's a team, just like Pitt, to be honest. They want to be in 3rd and short situations. They don't want to have to go for it on 3rd and 8 consistently because I don't think they convert. So you want to put this offense behind the chains. For Cincinnati, you got to establish one of your best players, which is Corey Kiner. You got to get the ball to Xavier Henderson to help your quarterback out. Put pressure on the young freshman Eli. Put pressure on him. He's a freshman, man. Let's see what he do in a rivalry game, raucous crowd on the road. Let's see what he do under that pressure. Brendan Sorsby had to take care of the football. No turnovers. Then he didn't really look great at Indiana. He looked like, I would say, maybe the better option between him and Taven Jackson, but he could put the ball in harm's way as well. And they got to stop Desmond Reed, the transfer running back, I believe from Western Carolina. You got to stop him. Make the ball go in Eli's hands, Eli Holston's hands, the young freshman, and see if you can rattle the young freshman. With that, I'm going to take Cincinnati at home to win. Now, honestly, I took them to win preseason, which is why I'm taking them today. At home in a rivalry game, I think that tilts the scales in a battle that should be a defensive battle with 2 mediocre offenses. I think being at home in a rivalry game, that tilts the scales. So I'll take Cincinnati in that one. Next, we have the Chipotle Bowl. So with this one, I would take with a grain of salt. Now, I'm letting y'all know now. I normally don't be biased on CCC. This one, I'm going to be a little biased. First of all, got Chipotle on the line. Second of all, I'm tired of losing to Maryland. Third of all, I'm not sure what Maryland looked like this year. But this game is 3:30 on the Big Ten Network. Again, take this one with a grain of salt. I'm just putting a disclaimer out right now. MSU got to force the Billy Edwards turnover, interception. Got to force the Billy Edwards interception. He didn't have one last week. Got to make sure he has one this week. They got to be better in the red zone. MSU in the red zone looked very porous. Play calling looked bad. Decision-making was bad by the quarterback. We just got to be better in the red zone. Aiden Childs has to take care of the football. First pick, like I said, maybe not his fault. Second pick, 1,000% his fault. You can't make that throw across the field late in the red zone. You can't do it. Have to get Nate Carter going. He didn't really get going last week. He had a couple runs, but he didn't get going. Kyron Lynch-Adams was more so the guy that got going a lot last week. But you got to establish Nate Carter. And they have to stop Roman Hemby, which they did a really good job against the run last week. They didn't do a good job against a running quarterback. I feel like Cam Fancher got too many yards off of run design runs, but you got to stop Roman Hemby. Now for Maryland, they got to win a turnover battle. As you can see, MSU gave up a lot of turnovers last week against FAU. Got to see if they can force the same amount of turnovers this week, especially at home. That gets the crowd involved. They got to score early. They got to score touchdowns. That was the thing with FAU. Now, it's a different team, but FAU didn't score touchdowns. They didn't really score, and I think they missed the field goal, if I'm not mistaken. But they got to score. Force Aiden Childs to win with his arm, because Aiden Childs' only touchdown last week was on a design run. When he really had to put the ball in the air, some of it was his fault, some of it wasn't. Missing throws down the field, it didn't look great. It did not look great. I will say that. And they got to run Roman Hemby, because if they can run him, MSU is going to creep up. And then you can hit MSU over the top, especially with the loss of Dylan Tatum. Dylan Tatum's out for the year. So you're looking to replace that guy at safety. And I believe our other safety's out for the first half due to a targeting last week. So if they creep up, you can hit them over the top. And don't allow Aiden Childs to use his legs. Again, his only touchdown last week was on the ground. But I got us winning the Chipotle Bowl. I do. Again, I'm tired of losing to Maryland. Maryland's a solid team, but I think there's a team that can be had. We looked really good defensively. Our issues against Maryland in the past has been defensively. They've been able to move the ball up and down the field against us. Don't think they do that today. Michigan State, they can get it going on offense. I have us beating Maryland at College Park. Next, we have South Carolina at Kentucky. Kentucky comes in as 8.5-point favorites. This game is on ABC at 3:30. South Carolina, Lenore Sellis is going to have to be better than last week. Now, it's his first game as a redshirt freshman, I believe, so take that with a grain of salt as well. But he's going to have to be better. He's definitely going to be better against a better defensive team in Kentucky. He's going to have to establish Rocket Sanders to help him out. Rocket Sanders was one of the premier backs in the SEC. Let's see if he still is. They have to force turnovers on the defensive end. Brock Vandagriff did throw a pick last week against Southern Mississippi. Can South Carolina force a pick with Nick Amarui, Debo Williams, and the guys on the defensive end? Got to find a way to force interceptions or at least a fumble. Got to stop Jamori Macklin, who I think is going to be Kentucky's best receiver. I mean, they still got Dane Key and Barry and Brown, but I think Jamori Macklin has the potential to be to be their best receiver from North Texas. And they got to move the chains on third down, which sounds pretty simple, but it's not. Like, it's really not, man. You see, some teams can go 2 for 13, 4 for 14 on third down. Got to be way better than that. Got to move the chains. For Kentucky, they got to turn this into a defensive game. That's more so the style of play Kentucky likes to play. Low scoring. Your offense can't do nothing. We're going to continue to take the ball from y'all time and time again. Turn this into a low-scoring defensive game. Can Brock Vandagriff have a good game again? Had a good game against Southern Miss, but this is South Carolina's a different school, SEC. Can he ball again? Get Jamori Macklin the ball, man. I know you got guys like Dane Key and Barry and Brown, but I think Jamori Macklin is the guy for Kentucky. Got to stop Nick Harbor and Van Jacobs. Nick Harbor is a guy coming into the season with a lot of hype. I want to see it, but Van Jacobs was South Carolina's leading receiver last week, so you got to stop those guys and make South Carolina convert third and longs. Again, another school. These two schools don't want to face third and longs. They want to be in third and manageable, third and short, stay in front of the chains, keep these teams behind the chains. With that being said, I took South Carolina in the preseason, so I'm gonna stick with my pick. I'm gonna take South Carolina and on today to win the game. I just don't know. I mean, I really don't know about either offense, but I really don't know about Kentucky's. The guys around them. I know about the receiving core. Don't get me wrong. I do know the receiving core is solid, but I think our defense can step up and make plays. I just don't know about everybody else, and I'm really just taking my preseason pick. I'm just not changing my mind on my preseason pick. That's all. We're gonna move on to Baylor at Utah. Utah comes in as 14.5-point favorites. This game was 3:30 on Fox. Utah. Well, I'll start with Baylor before I say it. Baylor, they have Daquan Finn transfer from Toledo. He has to be sound with the football. No turnovers, no fumbles, no bad decisions, no basically what I'm saying, like the read option. They gotta be perfect against this Utah team. I'll say that. They gotta stop Cam Rising. Cam Rising is back. He's the backbone of the team and the offense. When Cam Rising is playing, Utah elevates to different heights. They're not the same team. Utah have to score a lot because Utah will score. I think Utah is going to score a decent amount of points. I think Utah scores in about the 20s, maybe like 27, 20. I say 24 to 28 range with Cam Rising there at quarterback. Last year they put up 20. That was with Bryson Barnes and Nate Jackson. Cam Rising back. I think they go for anywhere between 24, 28. They got to establish Richard Reese, the running back, and Daquan Finn has to use his legs. He can't be one-dimensional. He got to keep his Utah defense on their toes, especially with the pass rush that Utah normally generates. He's going to have to find ways to escape the pocket, extend plays with his legs. Now for Utah, Cam Rising is back. You already heard what I said about Cam Rising. He elevates this team to new heights. Get Michael Bernard going. Now, Michael Bernard was not the leading rusher last week, but I think he's possible. I think he's the best running back on the team, and I think you need to get him going against this Baylor defense. Can't let Daquan Finn use his legs again. He's going to extend plays. He's going to try to find guys downfield, keep him in that pocket, get to him as a D-line. And that was next. Get pressure with the front four. If you can get pressure with your front four with Utah, that's so huge because then it allows the 7 in coverage just to do they don't have to send 5-6 guys to get pressure, which Utah is normally really good at getting pressure with 4. And they got to force momentum plays, whether it's a pick, fumble, splash play, like a big touchdown run, pass, something to get the crowd going since they're in Utah. Get a momentum play. Now, side note before I pick my winner, this is not a Big 12 conference game because Utah, when they agreed to do this home and home with Baylor, was a part of the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is now dissolved, but it's still looked at as a non-conference game, not as a conference game. So this will not count towards conference record. Just throwing that out there. But with that being said, I'm taking Utah to win, and my reason is Cam Rising. Cam Rising with Utah is just ridiculous. They're a really good team with Cam Rising. When he's playing, they're one of the best schools in the country. So I'm going to take Utah to win this game. Next, we have a huge rivalry. We have Iowa State at Iowa. Iowa coming into this game, 2.5-point favorites. This game is 3:30 at 3:30 on CBS. If you want to check it out. Now, Iowa State, can the offense score touchdowns? The issue with these games is they be so low scoring, and it fits Iowa so well. Does Iowa State finally bring in an offense to where they can score points and run away with this game? Rocco Beck has to take care of the football. You cannot give Iowa momentum-shaping plays, especially at home, especially with this defense. Can't do it. Establish Abu Sama, the best running back on Iowa State. You got to force Iowa to score touchdowns because Iowa, although they are really good on defense, they're just as bad on offense. Again, last year, the head coach's Kirk Frank's son and his contract for him to stay with Iowa had to average 25 points per game. He was not even close, and he got let go as OC. So that just explains how bad offensively Iowa is. And they got to force a Cade McNamara interception. Cade McNamara, to me, is a guy that will turn the ball over. He's not necessarily – I wouldn't say he's necessarily great at protecting it. So you got to force the turnover, force the interception. Now for Iowa, my first rank, Kirk Ferentz is back. Last week suspended. I mean, they put up 40 points, but it was Illinois State. I didn't put no stock in that. I'm sorry. But Kirk Ferentz is back. Let's see what this team look like now when he's back. Stop Rocco Beck legs because he can run the ball, man. But let's keep him contained, keep him in that pocket, see what he does there. They got to make it a low-scoring game again. That's Iowa's thing. They want to constrict you on defense, possibly make a play on offense. They want to make it to where if they score 14, that's good enough to win the game. That's how Iowa wants to play football. They got to stop Abu Sama. And offensively, how are they going to score? I mean, they got Caleb Johnson in the backfield. They got guys that can make plays, but it just doesn't work out. I don't know what it is. They got to find ways to score on offense. With that being said, I don't think that this is the offense that Iowa State brings in to beat Iowa. I think Iowa keeps this a low-scoring game. I think Iowa wins the game. And Iowa has been dominating this rivalry. So until Iowa State shows me otherwise, I'm going to pick Iowa to win. Plain and simple. Last afternoon game we have, California at Auburn, 3:30 on ESPN2. For Cal, in my opinion, they got to make Peyton Thorne beat them with their arm. Peyton Thorne has yet to show at Auburn he can win games consistently throwing the ball. They're going to have to establish Jaden Ott, their running back, their stud running back now in his junior year. They're going to have to stop Jaquiz Hunter, Auburn's stud running back, because, again, they're going to have to make Peyton Thorne beat him with his arm. Can Frankie Mendoza take care of the football? Don't want to give Auburn at home momentum picks. Don't want to do it. And force Auburn in the third and long situations because, again, Peyton Thorne has to show he can beat you. Now for Auburn, they're going to have Peyton Thorne has to play well. He's going to have to play well because this Cal team is not a slouch. It's not a slouch at all. They can't pose problems for Auburn. They're going to force Mendoza to beat them. They're going to have to force Mendoza to do his thing. They're going to have to probably load the box to stop Jalen Ott. Defense has to be ready to be the focal point of the win. Now, I say that because both offenses can struggle. Defense is going to have to play field possession, win the field position game. They're going to have to bury Cal deep, force a punt. Maybe Auburn gets it at the 50, anywhere between the Cal 45, 50. And Auburn just needs a few yards for a field goal. Defense is going to have to be ready to win the game. And win a turnover battle and the time of possession. If they can win the turnover battle and time of possession, that means they can establish the run game. That means they can stop Cal's run game, and they getting them off the field on third downs. And if they can force a turnover with that as well, that should be a win for Auburn, who I do have winning the game. Auburn comes in with the better defense. I think Cal comes in with the better running back, but Auburn being at home with the better defense, I think wins them the game. And them being at home as well. Them being at home bodes well for Auburn. I believe Auburn lost this game last year, if I'm not mistaken. I'll Google that and let y'all know. But I just think Auburn coming in at home with the momentum, the defense, I think they win this game. Let's see, Auburn, Cal 2023. Oh, no, Auburn won by 4. They barely won the game last year. All right, we're going to move on to our late night game, starting with South Florida at Alabama. Rematch from last year. Alabama barely escaped South Florida last year. I think they won 17-10, something like that. It was a low-scoring game. South Florida, get Byron Brown in open space. He can use his legs. He's a quarterback that can really run the ball. But this Alabama defense is athletic, but they got to find ways, quarterback design run, something like that to get him out in open space. They got to get the ball to their star wide receiver, Sean Atkins, let him make plays. Contain Jalen Milroe. Man, Jalen Milroe is such a great runner. You cannot let him get outside the pocket. It bodes dangerously for your defense. Going to have to score almost every possession. All right, so I have two things. They either going to have to score every possession, which makes this a shootout, which they really don't want to do, or they're going to have to make this a low-scoring game like last year and hang around and give themselves a chance to win. I'm going to go with the latter. They're going to have to make this a low-scoring game. And then they're going to, for Alabama, they got to stop the freshman Ryan Williams, who had a very good game last week. But competition level was not that great. They went against Western Kentucky. Now, Western Kentucky, South Florida might be a decent game. I think South Florida is better. But Ryan Williams, they got to find a way to stop the young, talented freshman. Cannot allow him to beat the defense deep. Now for Alabama, you stop Byron Brown legs, make him beat you passing the ball, which he can throw the ball. I will say that. He's really good at throwing the ball, but you don't want him to be dual threat. You want him to be one-dimensional. Got to get some quarterback design runs for Jalen Milroe. Get him out in open field. Make guys miss. Make him, maybe he breaks a long touchdown run. That was key against LSU last year. Get the ball to Kobe Prentice and Ryan Williams. Let them get going in open space. Have to stop pretty good wide receiver core with USF as well. I know they got Yaheem from Purdue. They got Sean Atkins. They got a couple guys at South Florida that can really play some ball. And they got to make this a shootout. If they score points, I don't think USF score points with Alabama against his defense. So if they could put up like 35, 42 points, USF won't win this game. They won't be close. And I'm going with Alabama to win this game. I think Alabama, they won't sleep on USF like they did last year. I think they're ready. Jalen Milroe didn't play last year. He was, quote-unquote, suspended. Some people say it was a suspension. Some people say it wasn't. I forgot the reason that Alabama had last year, but I just know he didn't play. I think Alabama scores a lot. USF can't keep up. Alabama wins. We move on to Kansas at Illinois, 7 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. This is a home-to-home. Last year, Kansas was at home, completely destroyed Illinois. Illinois. I keep saying Illinois. I keep dragging S's. Illinois. Sorry about that. But this game, like I said, 7 o'clock on FS1. Kansas, they're just going to have to establish Devin Neal. I hear me? All right, I'm back. They're going to have to put up points with against Illinois. Illinois is not going to put up points. They're going to want to play defense, and they're going to want to make this a low-scoring game. Jalen Daniels uses legs, become multi-dimensional, get this Illinois defense off on their toes. They're going to have to make Luke Altmaier beat them. They're going to have to make Luke Altmaier make throws. He's going to probably turn the ball over. And they're going to have to get the ball to Luke Grimm and Quentin Skinner and those playmakers on the outside. Y'all know I love Kansas wide receiver core. And the fact that they're all back is crazy. Lawrence Arnold's back as well. For Illinois, make this a low-scoring game. Again, that's what they're going to try to do, man. They're going to try to get you off the field, make this a low-scoring game. Can't allow Kansas to run it up. Establish Caden Fagan, because if you can establish him, it might help Luke Altmaier. I'm just low on Luke Altmaier. I'm sorry. Have to force multiple turnovers because, again, they're not going to score a lot of points. So if you can get Kansas off the field, create extra possessions, that's going to help in a low-scoring game. Stop Devin Neal. And they're going to have to get off the field on third down. Do not allow Kansas to extend the game, extend the drive with – I say extend the game, extend drives with third down conversions. It's going to be hard to put Kansas in third downs, to be honest. Got to get off the field when you do. But with that being said, which I didn't even write down, but I don't have to, I got Kansas winning the game. Illinois is not going to be able to stop Kansas from scoring a bunch of points. And I don't think Illinois is going to be able to score a bunch of points themselves. I'm not high on Luke Altmaier. I'm sorry. So I think Luke Altmaier has at least 2 turnovers this game. Especially with Kobe Bryant and Melo Dotson there at cornerback lurking. So give me Kansas to win. Also, Kansas is ranked 19th in the country. Forgot to say that. But we move on to Tennessee at NC State. 7:30 on ABC. Tennessee ranked 14th in the country. NC State ranked 24th in the country. Coming off of a crazy game against Western Carolina. Now, Tennessee. Can Nico Iamaleava continue to play lights out? He's been looking really good. He looked good against Iowa in the bowl game. He looked good last week as well. Can he continue to play lights out? Have to stop KC Concepcion. This is like NC State's only weapon, in my opinion, on offense. KC Concepcion, if you stop him, you stop this NC State offense. James Pierce Jr. is going to have to wreck the game. Can he just be played in North Carolina State's backfield all day? Establish Dylan Sampson. And they're gonna have to stop Grayson McCall from his legs. Now that was like what kept him at Coastal Carolina. He was running a bunch of options using his legs. It kept defenses off balance, and that's why their offense was really good. Jamie Chadwell was using running quarterbacks. That's why he got Caden Salter at Liberty. Got to stop him from using his legs. For North Carolina State, Grayson McCall is gonna have to use his legs. Same thing, just like the opposite. KC Concepcion, can he shoulder this offense? Again, he's like their only weapon. He's really good, sophomore guy. But is he alone going to be enough? Know where James Pierce Jr. is at all times, because if you don't, he will play in your backfield. Can they make Nico Iamaleava look human? He has not looked human his last 2 games. And get off the field on third downs. Now, NC State normally has a defense. They're going to have to get off the field, but I don't think it's enough. I think Tennessee wins this game. I think it's pretty easy, actually. And it's because NC State offense, it just lacks firepower. KC Concepcion alone is not going to be enough to get it done for this NC State team. Nico Iamaleava is going to lead Tennessee down on multiple drives. I just think they're outgunned and outmatched in this game. Now, for another premier game we have Colorado at Nebraska. Nebraska coming in at 6.5-point favorites. 7:30 on ESPN. For Colorado, Shedeur Sanders is going to have to be lights out. He's going to have to look like he did last week. Lights out, no turnovers, just hitting guys in stride. Which, Shedeur does. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. They're going to have to find a way to establish a run game. Could not establish a run game against North Dakota State. Kind of bit them in the butt towards the end of the game last week. But they got it against this Nebraska find a run game. Or Nebraska's going to pin their ears back and go rush Shedeur. Have to force turnovers. Last year, if you remember, they beat Nebraska because Nebraska constantly turned the ball over. They're going to have to do the same thing to beat a better Nebraska team this year. Can the second half defense show up? Only held North Dakota State to 6 points last week, or week 0, excuse me. Only held them to 6 points in the second half, and that was off a quarterback scramble late in the game. And then Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn got the ball out again. Over 300 yards combined for those 2 wide receivers. They're going to have to kind of put up the same numbers. And now you do got LaJohntay Wester and Will Shepard to help with that as well, but those got to be your main guys if you're Colorado. Now, if you're Nebraska, Dylan Raiola, this is his first big game. Last week against UTEP wasn't really a big game. He did well, but he's a freshman in his first huge game. It was a rivalry. I don't know if it still is. They're not in the same conference anymore, but huge game here. Defense needs to pressure Shedeur. You can't allow Shedeur just to sit back there with time and make throws. He's very accurate. He's going to make throws, and he's going to pick apart your defense if you do. Don't allow Shedeur Sanders to extend plays with his legs. Now, Shador, he doesn't want to run. He doesn't want to. I think he's learning more and more. He's going to have to use his legs, but he don't want to. He wants to sit in that pocket and make accurate throws. Fourth, third, and longs, they're not going to consistently. I don't think against this defense they're going to consistently convert third and long. So if you can do that, you'll get off the field. And they got to take care of the football. Because, again, last year, lost the game because endless turnovers. But this year, I think they take care of the football. I think Dylan Raiola is the real deal. And I think Nebraska gets the W against Colorado at home. They avenged last year's win. I just like Nebraska, man. If they ain't turned the ball over last year, they win. I think, again, they don't turn it over this year. Raiola makes plays. The defense kind of gets to Shador a little bit, and Nebraska wins the game. Now, my last game I got for you tonight, 10 o'clock, if you're still up, on Peacock, we have Boise State at Oregon. Oregon coming in as 19.5 point favorites. I think Oregon's ranked, I forgot to write it down, but I think they're like 7th in the country. For Boise State, they got to contain Dylan Gabriel, a guy that can use his arm and his legs. You got to contain him in the pocket. They got to get Ashton Jeanty going. Can he have another video game like last week? 6 touchdowns last week, 20 carries for like 260 yards. And again, he sat the second half of the fourth quarter. Mason Maddox, he's going to have to take care of this football. He's going to have to take care of the football. No interceptions, like literally can't have no turnovers. Got to be perfect. They're going to have to force turnovers of their own. They got to get extra possessions going against a high-power Oregon offense. Now, it wasn't shown last week against Idaho. First game of the season. Could be that. But Oregon's offenses are normally high-powered. Got to force turnovers against them. And they got to keep the Oregon offense off the field. Now, you do that by sustaining long drives like Nevada did against SMU. Sustain long drives. Keep getting first downs, leading the touchdowns. You need 7, 8-minute, 14, 15-play drives. Keep that Oregon offense off the field. Now, if you're Oregon, stop Ashton Jeanty. You stop Ashton Jeanty, you win the game. I think that, to me, is pretty much that simple if you're Oregon against Boise State. Make Mason Maddox beat you with an arm. He's probably going to throw you a pick if he has to. Got to finish drives. They had stupid numbers against Idaho, but only put up 24 points. That tells me they weren't finishing drives. They were punting probably. I mean, I didn't watch the game, to be honest. I didn't think it was a game I would have to watch. They're possibly punting the ball, selling for field goals. It's just they weren't finishing drives. Score early for momentum. You're in Eugene. You score early. That Hudson Stadium is going to be rocking. And establish Jordan James. You can't forget about the running back in the backfield. You establish him. It just opens up so much for Dylan Gabriel to do. And I think Oregon wins. Now, the main reason why I have Oregon winning, besides being the way better team, is that Boise State did struggle against Georgia Southern's passing game last week. They did pull off the win, but they had some moments where Georgia Southern was able to move that ball up and down the field and score touchdowns. And Oregon, in my opinion, is going to do that at a way easier clip. So I have Oregon State. Not Oregon State. I have Oregon winning the game. I don't know if they cover, but I do think they win the game. Now, that's all the games I have for y'all today. I will be back tomorrow. No time. I know it's going to be kind of early because I'm like y'all. I'm going to catch these NFL Sunday games. But I will be back tomorrow. Y'all enjoyed this huge and great slate of college football. Great games. I just went over 15. It's so many other games. Low-key, Wake Forest, Virginia. It's so many. Texas State, University of Texas, San Antonio, UTSA. It's so many other good games you can watch, man. So y'all enjoy. I'll be back tomorrow, but I'm gone. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.